flu is the subject of our new segment called What's Going Around. And we're talking with local doctors about what illnesses they're seeing lately. And here to talk about this year's flu season is Dr. Amanda Kinney from MGC Family Medicine in Duncan. And I thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And I know a lot of people are really concerned about the flu and about the other illnesses going around. We just heard Shannon Forest is one of the schools closing tomorrow in our area. Yeah. What do you say to parents who are worried about their kids getting the flu and some things they can do to make sure their kids don't spread it?
Yeah, it's definitely, like we said, peak flu season, and that's going to continue for the next few weeks to maybe even early April. So it's a good time to talk about it. So making sure that parents are encouraging their kids to wash their hands frequently throughout the day. Don't share drinks, don't share toys, anything that kids are bringing to school, just kind of keep their hands to themselves. If they're coughing or sneezing, they can do that into their sleeve or into a tissue if that's available. Those are kind of some big things to think of. And
it's definitely good to think about those things for sure. And this year, the flu shot is more effective than it was last year, right?
That's right. Now, the final numbers aren't out yet. The CDC will release all of that at the end of flu season, but the information that they've released so far has said that the strains of the flu that we're seeing are the ones that were covered by the flu vaccine, so that it should be effective. So hopefully the people that got the shot this year are more protected.
Which is good, but that might mean they still could get the flu, but maybe lessened symptoms, or they could get sick and it may not even be the flu, it could be another virus going around, right?
That's exactly right. The goal of the flu vaccine is to protect the person who gets it from getting the flu to begin with, and then if they do get it, that the symptoms will be less severe and that they would be at lower risk of the big complications we see from the flu. But there are still a lot of other viruses that go around that aren't the flu that do make people sick.
Yeah, which is really something. I know, and a lot of people will go into the doctor, they'll come see you, and you might give them a flu shot, but honestly, a lot of the time it doesn't end up being the flu.
Right, right. So we see, I think the average number right now for all of the folks that we test for the flu, I think like 20% of the tests are positive. So that means that 80% are some other viral process that's causing their illness.
Wow. And I went on Facebook Live just a little while ago and asked what questions people had. What things were they wondering about in terms of the flu? And we did get one question wondering about when someone might be most contagious. So when would somebody be most contagious in terms of the flu?
That's a good question, because a lot of people, when they come in sick, they wonder how long do they need to stay out of work or out of school. So there's a range that the CDC will give. So folks are actually contagious from 1 day before they start showing symptoms to up to 4 to even 7 days after they've started having symptoms. But I think the peak range is usually the first 24 to 48 hours after people start feeling sick.
Yeah, so really important to think about that. And we had another question from Jasmine as well, if we could put that one up, about in terms of how long can germs be active before you start to see symptoms. So you might have germs there lingering around, but you might not completely see that that person is sick at that point. That could be the time when a lot of things get spread.
That's true, sort of like that incubation period between being exposed to the virus and actually starting to act sick. I think for the flu it's relatively quick. So usually within 24 hours of getting it, you start to show symptoms, but I think they'll say that it's possible it could be a couple to a few days.
Okay, yeah. So some very good advice. I know it impacts so many people. A lot of people have kids who are maybe sick, coming home from school, a lot of family members, co-workers, that kind of thing. So we do thank you, doctor, so much for your time today and letting us know what's going around. And of course, this is a segment we're really excited about here on the 4 o'clock news.